Good afternoon and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today is March the 3rd, and here in north central Maryland, it's 8 weeks before our last frost. We're in growing zone 6B, 7A, and today we're going to winter sow our Napa cabbage, a type of Chinese cabbage. You know, the long, tall, leafy variety. You want to use an old milk jug, water jug, soda bottle, some type of container like this. You're going to cut it in half and leave a hinge. Make sure you add some drainage holes. You're making a mini greenhouse. The soil I'm using is ProMix organic potting soil, but any potting soil will work. I've already mixed it with water in the house because here overnight it's still been below freezing. And when I'm finished with this today, I'll put it back indoors to stay warm. Napa cabbage seeds are small. After you sow them, you want to cover them with only a 1/4 inch of soil. Don't drown them. This is an heirloom variety that I've been saving for years, and I don't remember its name. You can direct sow Napa cabbage in the ground in your garden 2 to 4 weeks before your last frost. But I prefer to use transplants. I'm going to start them in the little greenhouse, and when the right temperature hits, they're going to germinate. Napa cabbage prefers to germinate at temperature 60 to 75 degrees. And if I start them indoors in the basement under lights, like last year, it only took them 3 days to germinate. But they can take up to 2 weeks. Here outside in the cold, it's going to take them longer to germinate. But if they germinate and then the temperatures drop below 50 for several days in a row, when it warms up again, they'll probably send out a flower head called bolting. And for that reason, I really prefer to grow Napa cabbage in the fall. Sowing them in the fall, the benefits are daylight gradually gets less, which they like, and temperatures start off warmer and become cooler. You don't have the roller coaster up and down like the spring here. But I'm curious, are these easy to winter sow? Napa cabbage is one of my most resilient vegetable plants. It can survive the winter here. I have some still in the garden way over there in the corner. Now, I never covered it with any fleece, so it's still really small. The outer leaves, every time it gets super cold, they shrivel and die, but the center stays alive and keeps growing. If I had covered them with fleece, they would have survived the winter. But I suspect when warm weather hits, these are going to bolt and send up a flower stalk. That's one reason I enjoy growing these in the fall, because they will survive the winter. So for Napa cabbage, think Chinese stir fry or kimchi. I think that's how you spell it. That's the kind of cabbage this is. It's not a head cabbage. It grows much faster and easier than a head cabbage. Since Napa cabbage gets big, I don't need that many. So I put groups of 3 seeds that I'll go back and thin down to 1 seedling instead of sprinkling them on heavily. Now let's lightly cover them with soil and pat them down. The soil's already moist, but I am going to spray it with some warm water that I brought out from the house. Let's close it up and seal it up with tape and put it out in the garden to germinate. I'm using Gorilla duct tape. It's really sticky and works best for me, but the silver variety works too. Make sure there's no gaps in your tape. Moisture's going to escape and dry out your soil. So this harder plastic tape sticks easier. But the traditional milk jugs, the white opaque variety, they're very thin nowadays. And gaps form easily. So go back and add some more tape if that happens. You want to take off the lid so that rain and snow can get in and later heat can escape. And make sure to label your jug. A Sharpie is not going to last. It's going to fade in the sun. A garden marker is your best option. It's UV ray resistant. It's not going to fade. And we're just going to leave it out in the garden to take care of itself. And when nighttime temperatures get consistently above 50, we'll plant them out into the garden, probably around the end of April. And a week before that, we'll open up the jug for an hour or two in the daytime, close it up. Open it up for 2 or 3 hours the next day and close it. Harden it off. Get it used to the elements. Come back for more winter sowing videos. We have a lot more vegetables and flowers to sow. And check back to see our progress. Thank you for visiting Withrow Urban Homestead. See you later. Bye-bye.